That sound was not a part of the presentation.
Hello, welcome to PAX
Welcome
South.
to PAX, indeed.
We're gonna do a little Q&A, right? Is that the plan?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
There's a tradition, there's a ritual. Hold on, how are your guts?
They're inside, which is an improvement from a couple weeks ago.
So they're all where they're where they want to be. They're in their gut home.
Yeah, I would show you the scar, but it's dangerously close to my bathing suit parts, and I don't want to reveal anything.
I think that would drive the Twitch numbers like.
It might,
or maybe,
actually, yeah. No, they'd go down.
They would. All we know for sure is that the Twitch numbers would go in a direction.
Honestly, one of the most uncomfortable parts of the whole ordeal was that I was just exposed to everybody the entire time. Like nurses and doctors coming in. Everybody wants to take a look under the flap and see what's going on down there.
Like even if they're not, it's just like friends of the doctor.
No, like after.
Oh man, I love these.
I heard he did some good work in here. No, it was a rough couple of days. Yeah.
Well, it was like that, like for the vasectomy.
For the vasectomy, yeah.
So was that true for your experience too? Where it's like you go and then there's a doctor and then for some reason the nurse is just there?
Well, she's got to hand him stuff, but she also has a great view,
quote unquote. All right.
And the frustrating thing is you're in a bad situation, so you don't really have time to like prep anything. You know what I mean? Like,
what do you mean prep?
I'm saying they're not getting the best.
You mean hold on, like stage dressing? You mean like
saying
you mean like you go to the professional photographer and they got like the light thing?
It's like when you stage a house because you're gonna sell it.
So you want to have like a little chair?
No, you don't need to put a chair up, but a couple minutes because I'm scared, I'm tired. And he's retreated like a scared little turtle.
30 or 40 seconds with a pick comb?
Yes.
Just to work on the hedge?
A little mascara.
I think that
some rouge.
I think that things work differently at your house.
The worst part is when he pushed my intestines back in. Because they come out. That's what makes this big lump. And he's like, hey, is this tender? And I'm like, ah! And then...
Well, so you should have said yes. I mean, I think that maybe that's the problem.
No, I just screamed. And he's like, all right, well, they got to go back. And he's just shoving.
No, I picture him like it's a thing where he like needs leverage. So he's like hanging onto the bed and then like something else. And he's
one foot.
Get the fuck!
And then he's like, hey, they're going back in. Great.
Oh. Well, you might be curious to know... We could just continue to talk about our dicks for a while, but which I guess is technically our job. But Brian from Corpus Christi, Texas, wants to know. Oh, is that
Brian?
You got cranked, motherfucker. You want to know when Strip Search 2 be happening?
We can't. I mean, we don't have anything official, but we've been having a lot of Strip Search 2 talks lately with a lot of different people.
It's really, really...
Is it okay to say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. The reality is that, so if I were to say, do you want X, and then a bunch of people were to respond in the way that you just responded, I mean, that's an indicator to me. That's information.
Yeah.
Right?
No, people want
like,
another
you should
Strip
make
Search.
things that make other people go woo.
Yeah.
Right? And if they say woo, and if there's a preemptive woo, you know, obviously that inspires us.
Yeah.
It's not... I would say that Strip Search 2 is something that we talk about probably every week.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to put together the structure that would enable it to happen. And obviously, you know, we have the same fantasies about Strip Search 2 that you do, I'm sure, where you have to, you know, these poor bastards have to contend with a boss battle like Abby.
Yeah, we bring back the original contestants like Iron Chefs, right? I think it'll be really fun.
Imagine how brutal it would be if we were there as the creators, but then like the people who had gone through it before, now they're sort of like on our tier because there's this like fiction there about like webcomics and like what it's like to do. Like you wear a chain that is your wife's chain for some reason, and then she got a bunch of stuff secondhand and you wore that too. I guess Volcom is a brand.
You keep stressing the fact that that was not your chain.
I want to emphasize that I do not actually own this chain.
There's nothing wrong with owning a chain. Some people have chains.
Some people have 2 chains.
They do. It's true.
Do you think you'll ever add another PAX to the lineup? I know you said no. Oh, you giggled. Do you like that?
It's a good question. I don't know.
No, I know you said no in the past, but a boy can dream. This is from Wesley in Miami, Florida. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I mean, we've thought about it.
We've thought about it.
We've had the conversation.
You know, I've heard that Philly is super nice.
Well, here, let me tell you, like, my rubric, like, my decision-making process.
Isn't that the guy that made 2001?
No, that's Stanley rubric. No.
Oh.
All right.
Isn't that one of those puzzle cubes?
No. So here's how it goes. If I'm gonna do something, there has to be cheesesteaks there. There has to be.
Yeah.
Like that's job 1.
Okay.
And 2, I mean, the reality is I have tried for a decade unsuccessfully to go to a tabletop show.
Yeah.
And I have not been able to do it. Like, I've not actually been able to put it together.
The whole time I was at Gen Con, all I could think was, this should be Jerry. Like,
Yeah.
Jerry should be here instead of me.
Instead.
Yeah. You'd like it the most.
Yeah. So they have to have a good sandwich that's unique to that region. Right? And it has to be, if I don't actually plan and execute a tabletop show, I'm not going to be able to go to one. So my feeling is that we should just do it. I think we should just do it. Right?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it like the week before Thanksgiving.
Maybe, yeah. Like, right before Thanksgiving seems like a good time. I mean, we will have been back from PAX Australia for 3 weeks. So that's plenty of time to get your batteries recharged, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I think so.
PAX Unplugged, sound good? Well, again, like I said, if you do something and then people say, woo, that's...
I've decided I'm actually just going to get surgery before every PAX now so that I can have a scooter. I'm just going to get a toe cut off. I mean, especially if I have the scooter, I don't need them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Do you ever worry about other artists or writers assassinating you in an attempt to gain...
I didn't.
Not previously.
No.
In an attempt to gain your powers, a la Highlander.
I don't think we're in a there can be only one situation when it comes to artists.
I mean, there's already 2.
Well, beyond that, we're not the only artist writer in the world.
But is it possible... I mean, 2016 was a rough year. I mean, is it possible that that was the beginning of the arc?
It could be. I like to think that if an artist killed me and took my place, you would notice. But the more I think about it, I'm not sure that's the case. I think another person could come in and sit down at my chair.
It's happened.
And you wouldn't even know.
It happened 2 weeks ago.
Oh, when Chris came in, Chris Straub, who you call Superior Mike. That hurts. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's funny because like a couple days before that, I was laying in bed, hurting, and Kara's like, does it bother you that Jerry and Chris are doing so much work together and it's so great
and the work is of such a high quality
and they're just so funny
and the fans have responded so well?
And I'm like,
do you feel like you're a light bulb that can be replaced at any time? Okay, so we do have lines, but we have to find them with material. It's like sonar.
Yeah, no,
Michael, I'm sorry.
You have to poke.
I'm sorry. It's like sonar. Like I have to put the material out before I find out where the line is. Now that I know where the line is,
yeah, walk it back.
I can come
walk
back.
it back. No, I said, no, honey, I think it's great. You know, they work really well together. I don't have any of that, like, jealousy. You know, there's nothing like that. And I come in the next day and you're like, I like to call him Superior Mike. But the reality is that Chris has had 2 hernia surgeries. You can't trust him. He's just going to have another one.
No,
that fucker's hernia is screwed, man.
He's going to come in.
They put like a carbon fiber mesh across my belly. This shit is never coming out again.
He's gonna come out. He's gonna come in. He'll be working on something the next time you fail, and he'll be like, and it'll just become a sphere of intestines,
Everything
and I'll
will
have to
just
roll
pop
him out and find a new artist.
Yeah.
I'm the only part of this thing that works. That's what I've determined. Sup,
Yeah.
Gabe?
No, you're
How you
a
doing?
rock. You're an island.
Dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun. Okay. All right. Hey, what other type of convention expo would you want to host? Anime con. I swear to God, this is not seated. But we are going to do PAX Unplugged right before Thanksgiving in Philly. All right. We covered it. Anime con, boat show.
Boat show. You know what I like going to? I
Gathering.
love
Hold
going
on.
to-
They also recommend Gathering of the Juggalos, but I think that the Gathering of the Juggalos already has sort of a command structure.
I think so. I don't
One-
think
one-
that we're
one
in
presumes
the ICP.
that Shaggy 2 Dope and Violent J sort of like have that under
lock.
control.
Have you ever been to an RV show?
What's that?
RV shows are super fun. Like, you get to walk around inside these cool RVs.
This.
Really? You've never gone to an RV show?
I can't imagine this
don't go-
configuration of words even coming out of you.
I'm not going to buy an RV, but, like, it's fun to see, like, you know, they're really cool. They've got, like, TVs and stuff in them. You've never gone to one.
Well, maybe. I mean, now I imagine they're like command bunkers or something,
Yeah.
right? They've got like that swivel gun on the top.
I don't know. I think they're
Drones.
fun to go to. I'm not saying we're going to host an RV show. I think that's outside our specialty.
PAX RV.
Although with all the PAXs we're doing now,
That's PAX Freedom.
let me
Right?
propose something to you. We've got what, a dozen PAX shows now?
What? No, we have 400 PAX shows.
What if we traveled to each one in like a bus?
Oh, like a reliquary. Like we travel. No, and we have like we carry the heart of PAX with
us in the bus.
and then robed figures.
But all these bands, they have cool buses with like beds and video game systems. Like, we fucking fly everywhere. I think a bus would be rad.
I think that would be novel. I also think it would be fun to go to the RV show and then like go into one of the RVs and close the door.
And just shit in one of the toilets. They're not hooked up to anything, man. You can't use them.
No.
Oh.
and then if someone comes and opens the door, you say, "Get out! This is my house." I feel like that would be a great afternoon.
Yeah, no, that could be fun.
This is my house. With virtual reality finally taking off, let's assume each of you gets to design a virtual reality game that represents the other's life from their point of view. Can you name a few levels, foes, challenges, or trophies you'd put in that game? This is from James Jouvet in San Antonio. And so I want to make sure that you guys know I did not pronounce it correctly the first time because I'm rad. He actually included the pronunciation notes, which I appreciate. It's a very Jouvet sort of thing to do.
I imagine that your VR game would be like those experiences that are designed to mimic like schizophrenia, where it's more of like
Have you ever seen those?
Oh yeah, it's like a HoloLens experience where you see everything, but then superimposed are all these demons like cackling and laughing at you all around.
Well, yeah, and it's like they're telling you about the things that you're doing and how they're not good.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be your VR experience.
That sounds normal. That sounds regular. What is the... I think that if you could control everything else the way that you control the tablet with the stylus, I think that you would be pleased.
I would be, yeah. Mine would also have to have achievements for like going outside.
No. See, because that's where you're wrong. If someone else made a game about life, it would have that because it would be aspirational. Your achievements are not like that. Your achievement is eat the entire box of Oreos.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Mike achievements are not the aspirational achievements.
Well, they're aspirational for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do one row right
no,
now.
no. It's like a marathon type situation where it's like each night, like you're building up to like
Yeah. You got to train.
music plays. Hulk Hogan's "I'm a Real American," obviously.
Yeah.
A great accompaniment to that process. Has Mike updated his computer before Make a Strip this year?
That is a great idea. Thank you for reminding me.
This is a possibility.
I just updated it before we came down here, but I'm certain there's another one.
That's not good enough.
Yeah, I'll do it in the hotel room tomorrow morning.
But I wonder if it'll even matter.
It won't. It'll do something.
I think they push those updates.
They watch when I'm on stage. They got Twitch open. He's about to drop. Push an update. Say it's security.
Yeah. I mean, how is it? Yeah, but it has happened every time.
It has happened every time.
It has happened 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Any chance of getting 5XL shirt sizes in the store? Because I am very fat.
That might be a special order. I don't know.
I'll talk to Lydia.
We'll have to ask Lydia.
Yeah, Lydia will know. You seem to be limiting your involvement at PAX South more so than the other shows. There isn't a signing this year. Can you talk about why that's happening and what it means for your involvement both here and at the other shows in the future? If I can put a signing back on the schedule, easy. Legitimately, that's like the easiest thing in the world. I will tell Ryan to put it on the schedule, and it will be on the schedule.
We took signings out of most shows. The real reason is because we would go to the signings, like at PAX Prime. We would have a signing right next to like Markiplier. And so,
or Pat Rothfuss.
And
so the best part is if you're having a signing and you're sitting down, and then Pat Rothfuss is there, and his line is going all the way out.
Yeah.
And then he'll actually stop signing in his line and come over and be like,
"Sorry, guys." Yeah, I mean, we would go through our line of a couple dozen people, and then we would sit there and watch Markiplier.
Watch Markiplier hug for 3 hours.
Yeah. And so we thought, well, maybe, it's been a decade. Maybe people got our autograph. Let's call a halt to the signings. Or what we like to call shame lines.
That's right. Okay, there is actually a line story that is, not yet. There's a line story that I think is funny anyway, but that's because, I'm a masochist.
Okay.
So, do you remember when we were at the Baltimore Comic-Con?
Oh, yeah.
And we were kitty corner from Rob Liefeld.
Yep. That motherfucker gets a line.
Yeah. And his... Oh, my God. This is actually really bad. Now that I think about it, this actually hurts to relate. Okay. His line was so long that it went in front of our booth, like directly in front, and I thought that it was our line.
Yes, because they were lined up in front of our table, and I'm like, hey, what can I do for you? Nothing, I'm here for Rob Liefeld. You just happen to be in the fucking way.
So, yeah. It's not personal. It's mostly as a form of self-protection.
It is. That's just our own mental health.
But PAX South is younger than the other shows, and it may be that we haven't completely mined out the signing space yet.
What's funny is people give Rob Liefeld, I can't call him Rob, I don't know him, a lot of crap, and obviously he's got some artistic, issues. But and I liked to hate him. I was kind of one of those people who's like not a Rob Liefeld fan.
But I remember though.
At that show, there was a show we were at, I think it was a Comic-Con. Gabe was so little, just above a toddler. And I'd gone into the bathroom with him, and I was like, wash your hands, buddy. And I was washing my hands over here. And he went to get like a paper towel, and he couldn't reach it. And then I hear a guy go, here you go, little man. And I look over, and it's Rob Liefeld, helping my son get some paper towels. And I was like, look at this fucking nice guy.
That's
God damn it. And I told him, I was like, that person can't draw.
Don't take that paper
Look
towel.
at this Captain America.
No.
What the fuck is going on?
No, you leave your hands wet. All right. You guys take a lot of flack. This is a red envelope, by the way. And sometimes red envelopes are actually red envelopes. Dun, dun, dun.
Is this a real one?
Yeah, it could be. You guys take a lot of flack for your opinions, attitudes, PR missteps. What is one thing you feel is unfairly held against you? I don't think that any of it's unfair. I think that we're fuck ups. You know, here's the reality, right? That's actually a good red envelope. But my whole life is the way it is because I have been honest with you thus far. So I don't see any reason to alter that policy. We became adults completely in the public eye, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, we started Penny Arcade when we were 20-something, right? 21, 22?
Yeah, and so all the things that a person learns to be better, all the ways that a person can grow and improve, and the failures that cause you to reassess your life, those are common. The difference is that they were visible.
Yeah, I think that between the age of 20 and the age of 40, which I turned 40 this year, I think that most people go through a lot of shit. I think you figure out a lot of stuff about who you are in those 20 years, and ours was available for everyone to watch.
Right.
And so, no, none of it is unfair.
None of it's unfair.
I also wouldn't take any of it back. I mean, everything that we did is just the journey to get to here, right?
Right. To get to a place where you have learned to be more human. Right?
Yeah, I mean, you have, all of that stuff is learning. It's just all of it is learning, and we just did it in front of 4 million people or whatever, right?
Thank you. We got applause for being marginally less bad, and I like that.
Yeah.
I can jump over that bar.
Right.
Hey. And then I got cheers for saying I was awful. So this is a very interesting.
Yeah.
This is getting weirder. All right. Hey, dear Mike and Jerry. People obviously like the both of you. I guess we can just keep it going. I enjoyed your comics for many years, but really fell into the rabbit hole after attending PAX and listening how you both converse with each other and with other people. I was wondering why you feel people are attracted so much to what you create and how you are as people. As a follow-up, how have you resisted becoming supervillains? I think that the long arc is the redemption story from supervillainy.
That's the long play, yeah.
In general, but the reality is, I think that this question's connected to the last one.
It is. All it is honesty. Like, we have our relationship, like, the friendship that we have has just been on display, and it's been very honest. And what we hear most of the time is people go, oh, man, I have a friend just like me and my friend are just like you guys.
Well, yeah, and they come to PAX, right? I mean,
right.
We see, so my theory, I talked with a woman named Becca in the airport before we came down.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's like, I'm going to meet like 20 of my best friends that I've never met before. We're all going to meet up in PAX South, and that's going to be the first time that we hang out.
That's awesome. Right?
And so my theory is that the show, and I've maintained this for a while, is that PAX is actually a convention but each of the conventions varies in size from 2 people to 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is just you and your friend. And I think that the dynamic that we have is one that people recognize as true.
Yeah.
Right? We don't agree on everything. We fight in public all the time.
We do.
All the fucking time.
Yeah, I remember when we started doing the first 15s, I felt very nervous because I don't feel like I'm the right person to be doing a first 15 because 9 times out of 10, I don't like the first 15 minutes of a game, right? Like, but what I realized is that people would tell me that they like the dynamic, right? They like it when I'm an asshole, and they like it when you're cool. And it's like, well, that's what I am. So
Great.
congratulations. This is what you get.
I'll take that job.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I am trying to find something, right?
Right.
And you are trying to protect your time.
Yes.
And somewhere between the two of us, we end up delivering
That's
something
the
useful.
thing. If a game penetrates both of our sort of shields,
That's good data,
that's good data. Yeah.
right?
Well, and if one of us likes a game, we've been doing it for so long that I think people sort of know, oh, Mike likes this, I bet I'll like it. Or Jerry likes this, it's probably garbage, right?
Right.
Like, I think they understand at this point how that works. I bet this is indie trash.
This is just a bunch of lines. Question for both of you guys. How would you deal with the fact that your kin started reading your comics if they were to start reading them? So that could be family or kids,
You want to know
I
what's
guess.
funny?
It could be kids, I bet.
Kids,
This is from Guile, but it's Guille. I bet that's not Guile.
You want to know what Gabe's favorite comic strip is?
What's that?
XKCD.
So at home, do you just dig a little more of your grave each night?
Yeah. No, he was reading. He's like, "Have you seen this comic XKCD?" And I'm like, "Yes, son. I know about it."
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, do you like it?" And I go, "No. I mean, I really read comics for the art." And he goes, "Oh, I like his art." Get out of my house.
This
He's
is
like, "But I'm 12. Get the fuck out of my house."
yeah. Go live with Randall Munro.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a mansion. He's probably got a room for you. These are stick figures, son. This isn't art.
You see? But this is the funny part, is that you say you read comics for the art, but you can't read art, man. You can't read it.
You posted a link, oh God, in a news post the other day, you posted a link to a web comic about like ghost hunters or something like that.
That's fucking incredible.
Yeah, so I went to the link and I'm looking, I went to look at it and I'm just going doot, page. And I realized that you could see it and I'm like, God, I wonder if he's seeing me not reading this, just looking at the pictures, and it's just dying inside.
No.
Because before I read it, I want to know if it's worth reading. Right? I want to know, does this have good art? Oh, it does. I'll read it, sure.
But you gotta do that quick first pass.
Yeah.
It's a pretty baller comic, though, right?
It was cool, yeah.
Yeah. But as far as Elliot, I've just told him that he's not ready for this jelly. He's not prepared for it.
Yeah.
And there'll be a time when it's ready. But I occasionally do show him ones. And like when Ronya is in a comic, I'll definitely show her that one.
I show him the ones that they're in usually. And honestly, I know that he goes and reads a lot of them.
No, the one that Elliot really likes is Daddy Two Peepees.
Daddy has two peepees. Yeah.
But the funny is that that's not even a comic. That's literally just something that actually happened.
That's 90% of comics that we do.
I told him that when he was way too young to understand what the fuck I was talking about.
Yeah.
Tycho, can you perform an in-character voiceover of the last two panels of the 2006 classic strip, I Hope You Like Text? Please include the refrain from the song that ends the earth. Well, here, why don't you answer another question and I'll get my phone.
Okay. Does somebody have the hoodie on? You just read it. All right. How many more years is PAX South coming back to San Antonio? This is from Michael in Austin.
Sorry, Chris.
We've got no reason to leave. I mean, yeah. I love coming down here. Riverwalk, barbecue. No, it's fantastic. Why does Jerry always wear a black shirt and jeans? This is from Brian in Corpus Christi, Texas. Yeah, Jerry hates clothing, and he resents being forced to dress at all. I discovered that as soon as he gets into his hotel room, he just takes off all of his clothes. Just immediately. So if you see him in clothes, like out in public, know that that's the only time he wears them. And he just doesn't ever want to have to think about, is this a cool shirt? Are these neat pants? What about these shoes? Like, he just got himself a uniform, and that's what he wears. Answer what? Oh, he's back. I was having a great time out here, man.
No. Listen, I don't want to stop you at all. And the
I
fact
think I got it right. You wear black shirt and jeans just because you don't ever want to have to think about clothes, right?
No, it's like a cartoon character's, dressing
It's
room.
iconic.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
That's very nice of you.
You're
that's
welcome.
that's much more ennobling than laziness.
Yeah. Do you want me to do one more, and then you're going to
Well,
read?
no, you have to, because the internet is delivering us about 40 pixels every 20 seconds.
Okay. Is there an evil Gabe with a Pac-Man ghost on his shirt?
That's a good idea.
There will be now, yeah. I guess he'd also have to have a goatee.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, these are the alternate universe rules.
Yeah. Evil Gabe with a Pac-Man ghost. I can do that.
Right.
We do future Gabe a lot.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Gabe
With the
is
cyborg ship.
Gabe is constantly time traveling to tell himself ridiculous things about the future, which is one of my favorite, like, Gabe running gags.
Useless facts. But we also determined in the in Acquisitions Incorporated, the series, we determined that I am the evil version of Pat Rothfuss.
Oh, yeah.
So Pat Rothfuss, all hair. Just hair
Nothing
everywhere.
but hair.
Hair everywhere. If the shirt comes off, hair.
Yeah.
Like a sphere of hair. And then I'm the opposite. I'm a sphere of not hair.
Skin.
Yeah.
You're just a skin bag.
Whatever the opposite of hair is.
Just a wrinkly skin bag.
Don't say another goddamn word. Up until now, I've been polite. If you say anything else, word one, I will kill myself. And when my tainted spirit finds its destination, I will topple the master of that dark place. And from my black throne, I will lash together a machine of bone and blood. Fueled by my hatred for you, this fear engine will bore a hole between this world and that one. And when it begins, you will hear the sound of children screaming, as though from a great distance. A smoking orb of nothing will grow above your bed, and from it will emerge 1,000 starving crows. As I slip through the widening maw in my new form, you will catch only a glimpse of my radiance before you are incinerated. Then, as tears of bubbling pitch stream down my face, my dark work will begin. I will open one of my 6 mouths, and I will sing the song that ends the earth.
That one was a classic. I remember writing that one because I remember, like, God, that's a lot of text, but it's so funny. We had to keep all of it.
Exactly, and I was like, no. It's like, it's like, for me, it's like as the aperture of the art is just crushed. It's like that is actually the portal to my world.
Well, yeah,
that
usually
strip is literally the portal to my world.
Usually I have to be like, hey, man, leave me some room to draw. But in that one, I was like, no, it's too good.
No, we couldn't kill any of those babies.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering my question about depression last year. I appreciate it very much. Hey, it's no problem. I'm an expert in depression. And now for my question. What are you most afraid of your kids inheriting directly from you? Jesus Christ, dude. Via genetics or behavior or even personality. This is Rip E from NYC.
Oh,
hey, what's up, man?
good question.
That's a great question. Thanks. That won't be weird to answer at all.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe is 12 now, and he definitely has anxiety. We've gone to therapy with him a couple of times, and it's sad. I definitely feel bad, like, oh, I gave this to you.
Well, it's worse. You made him.
I made him, right? I made you to have this.
Yeah. Being in a situation where you have created a person who suffers is a pretty fucked up situation.
It is, but the other side of that is that I know exactly how he feels, and I'm in a position to offer him really good advice, right? Like, I did not have someone who was sort of guiding me through this. In fact, it wasn't until I was like, in my 30s that I was like, oh, I have a problem you can take medicine for? Like,
oh, this is like any other injury?
Right. So being able to help him early on, I think, is good. And then it's really, what's more interesting is to see when they don't inherit your traits, right? Because Noah is this crazy, outgoing, super friendly kid who just likes everybody, talks to everybody, and I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah, like, that's the other side, right?
I don't know this person.
Right? So yeah, exactly. And so Ronya can draw. I mean, I've showed you this shit.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
good.
know. She's drawing a two-dimensional picture that looks like it's in 3D. Like, she didn't get that from me.
Yeah, but Brenna is creative in that way.
Exactly, and especially with physical things, right? But they both have something. They both have something about myself that I don't like, and the only way, like the only redeeming aspect of it is, like you said, is that when we had these problems when we were kids, like 16 was not a good year for me. And part of it is that there'd be no way that I could explain these things to my parents.
Right.
And there'd be I didn't have the faith at that time that they had a sense of what I was going through, right? Here's the difference is that we can talk to them when they're 15, right?
Yeah, that'll be good.
We can inoculate them against the worst of it. And we can start before they have the problem, before it metastasizes, basically, right?
Yeah. There was a couple days ago, Noah actually asked me, he's like, how come you and Gabe take a pill every morning? And
this kid's on it.
Yeah. I was like, well, some people have to take medicine all the time, and, you're really lucky you don't have to do that. And that's great for you. But it was really interesting that he noticed it. But yeah, he doesn't have it at all. We were at like an ice cream place, and they wanted to get like a bottle of water. And I was like, Gabe, here, take this $1 and go buy a bottle of water. And he's like, no, I can't do it. I can't go. Like, he was scared to go talk to this person and have that interaction. And eventually, I was trying to convince him to do it. And finally, Noah, who was like 5 at the time, goes, "Oh, give me the $1. I'll do it." And he walked up there and he's like, "Give me water." Like, he just has no fear.
Bam, bam.
It's pretty awesome.
Right. Hey, do you think that Penny Arcade Incorporated should continue to grow, or do you like the size that it is now? We've actually sort of shifted around some jobs, and we've brought in a couple new people just to help us accomplish some of the shit we're trying to get up to this year. The reality is that if we wanted to do something like a Strip Search 2, let's say, we need a pretty sophisticated force internally just to manage some of these projects.
Yeah, I can't see it getting too much bigger. I mean, we honestly don't have room for many more people, but no, I like the size it is now.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot that we can do with the team at this size.
Yeah.
And you'll see what I mean by that this year. In the zombie apocalypse, which PA employee would die first?
Jeff.
Who would survive the longest?
Me.
Daniel in Braintree, Massachusetts.
No, Faylauer would survive the longest. I mean, he's got all the swords and armor and shit in his office. Like,
well, no, I mean, that's the reality. Is that as soon as I know that he is waiting. I know that there's a part. You know how you can have like memory resident processes, like virus scanners.
Right.
There is a part of his brain that is always waiting for that announcement.
Yeah.
In his office. This is his office at work. This is not his office at home. In his office at work, there are 5 swords.
Yeah,
and a suit of stormtrooper armor, and a gambeson, and at least 1 pauldron.
At least 1. Yeah, the radio is going to be like, warning, strange virus, outbreak, unknown, casualties, protect yourself. And he's going to be like, yes! Finally.
Yeah, that's how it's going to go down.
Yeah.
Face coming out on top of that one. Jerry, the development of Mike's drawing style has come up in questions a few times. Has your writing style undergone a similar evolution? Do you experiment? That is a good question. Do you experiment with your writing the way that Mike experiments with his art? This is from Blair in Sydney, Australia.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think so. I guess it would look different. Mm-hmm. Like if I changed my style, it would be perceived in a different way.
It'd be like italics.
No, listen, the italics thing, that's been around forever.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember Mr. Ketchum, the English teacher?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Dude, he used to get on my ass. I would turn in my papers with italics.
He hated it?
I wrote like that in like the 11th grade. Italics are that's my brand.
Yeah, Mr. Ketchum was great. He was our English sort of journalism teacher. I remember my last day of high school. We'd graduate. We were just about to graduate, and I was walking out of the art room, and Mr. Ketchum caught me, and he grabbed my arm, and he said, I see a lot of kids come through here. You and Jerry are...
No. That's the way you go. See a lot of kids come through here, and Jerry's great.
Jerry's awesome. No, he's like, you and Jerry are going to do something. And I was, made me feel super good. Like, I remember thinking, wow, this teacher is, believes in us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we were fucking around with comics even back then.
Oh, yeah.
Generally speaking, my writing style, if I experiment with it, I don't like to experiment with it too much in the main strip or the main post. If I'm going to do that, it's going to be in a side project. Like if we do something custom, like we did that, those 3 pieces for Destiny when they had the new specs.
Oh, those were fun, yeah.
Right, so I had a chance to write 3 pages just from a completely alien perspective to the way that we usually do stuff, right? So whenever I have an opportunity to do like a work for hire type thing, I typically use that space to play around.
What's great is we wrote those 3 comics, one for each of the new classes, and a lot of the writing that
the writing on the Warlock one that ended up in the game, and that was not.
No.
I wasn't trying to do that.
No.
Right? Basically, I wrote fan fiction. It's like writing fan fiction, having a line of yours end up in the game.
Yeah, I remember playing
crazy.
through the Warlock and seeing your dialogue in there and thinking, yeah, we made it.
But I guess that's true. I also, Gabe is laying out a book of basically fantasy poetry called Lexcalibur that should be out this year. And that's another place that I messed around with it a bunch. I also do that in lyrics. If you've seen the last part of any of the recent Acquisitions Incorporated pieces, there's been a poem at the end of the one for East and at the end of the one for West. That's another place I use to screw around. And who knows? Acquisitions Incorporated is at PAX South. There might be something like that here too.
Oh, I'm tantalized.
Mm-hmm.
You've tantalized me.
It might happen. Given the brave new world we find ourselves in, Gabe and Tycho, what audio logs will you start compiling for some future protagonist to find in the ruins of our civilization? Will you merely fold them into existing podcasts and video content, or would you store them on vintage obsolete media that some unknown future protagonist type person will just so happen to be able to play and listen to your probable descent into insanity? This is from J.K. Jung in Baldwin Park, California.
It's very elaborate.
I like it, though, because there's always the tape decks, right?
Yeah.
It's like in addition to all of your rocket launchers and shit, you got to carry this motherfucker.
It's a funny question, but I think the reality is that, when my son is in his 20s and 30s, being able to go back and read your dad's diary.
Can you imagine?
I can't. Well, I don't know anything that happened to my dad.
I don't know anything about my dad.
No.
I don't know a single goddamn thing.
No. I think that our dads were from a generation where you went to work and you came home and you had a drink and then you went to bed. That was what you did, right? My son is going to know every intimate fucking detail about my life because it's all in this comic strip for 30 years at that point, right?
Yeah. He's going to say, you go back. Elliot's going to listen to the podcast. See, that's the scary part.
That's the weird thing.
The comic is sort of controlled. We decided what to write there.
Sure.
When he starts cracking into 7, 8, 9, 10 years of podcasts, he can be like, well, yep, that's when Mom and Daddy got divorced. You know what I mean?
Right.
He'd be like, well, that's what Daddy said.
That's when it started, right there. But even beyond
that's when the cracks started to show.
Think about grandkids and great-grandkids. We're leaving this weird sort of time capsule.
Well, absolute knowledge.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I think that's really interesting.
Way to go, J.K. Jung. Get us thinking up here. I would love to hear more stories about your kids. Can you tell me about a time they used some of your stuff, video games or physical goods, in a way you did not expect?
I don't know about that. I have, right before I had the surgery, I had downloaded the Nier Automata demo, and then I had a rough couple of nights, and after that I was recovering, and so I completely forgot that I had even downloaded it. And I came down, this was a couple days ago, and Noah was like, Daddy, you've got to play this game. And I'm like, which game? And he shows me, and he'd played this demo. And I'm like, oh my God, I haven't played it yet. I don't know anything about it. I hope it's okay. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to play it right now. So I grabbed the controller, and he goes, just to let you know, you have to play as a girl, but it's okay. She's awesome. And I was like, oh, all right. And so I played it, and that game was fucking amazing.
No, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, but no, I can't think of a time where they used it in a way that I didn't expect.
There was a period of time when Elliot was younger. I was back in the kitchen doing some dad thing, and I heard a whump. You know how it is.
You hear a
this
whump
fucking
sometimes.
whump, and you're like, brrr.
Yeah.
You head out there, and I come out there, and Elliot's face is just red everywhere.
Yeah.
I assumed that he had sustained a serious injury, but he did not know where lipstick goes. And he thought that maybe lipstick went on your entire face.
Okay.
The only part of his face that did not have lipstick was his lips. So there was 2 or 3 seconds where I thought that he was bleeding profusely.
Red envelope.
How
bad is it?
What's that?
How bad is it?
It'll be okay, but sit down, just for your own
I was going to do that anyway.
material. My all-time favorite strip to date was the one from the days following Sandy Hook school shooting, where Tycho commented, "It's an odd sort of patriot that would destroy the First Amendment to defend the Second." That sounds like something I would say. Since our media culture is so weighed down by sequels and remakes, what can be done to foster creative, original, and free speech and ideas? How can our subset of the world population be ambassadors of the free exchange of ideas? My feeling is that if you look out at your creative culture and you're only seeing the same things over and over again, there's 2 things that are incumbent upon you. One is you should be acting to counteract that. It's your responsibility as a conscious being to fight that.
I think that complaining about art is one of the stupidest things you can do.
You have to do it.
If you don't like art, you make art.
You have to make art.
That's the only response.
That's the first thing. The second thing is I guarantee you that there are interesting voices out there you don't know about.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you ever look out and it seems like you're not reflected, you have to make stuff, but you also have to look harder, because you're going to find your people out there. But if you're constantly looking specifically to the mainstream or the same channels of information, they're called channels for a reason.
Yeah.
You need to break out of your the diet that you have of media, and you need to find your people that are stretching out these definitions.
Yeah.
Red envelope. Now, I know that Mike has talked a bit about how it was to grow up for him as a kid, who was always the new kid, and that Jerry had a very religious upbringing. Could you talk a bit more about what your lives were like before you met each other? Also, when did you meet for the first time?
Yeah. So my dad bounced around a lot. He worked for Sears, and so I went to first grade in one state, second and third grade in a different state, fourth and fifth grade in Washington, but in Seattle, and then started.
This explains a lot.
Then started sixth grade in Spokane.
Right.
Like, I could never settle in, and it's been really interesting actually watching Gabe and Noah grow up. Like, they've had friends that they've known from kindergarten, and now Gabe's in sixth grade, and they're still friends. And to me, that is crazy. Like, to know the same kids in kindergarten that you know now, right? But yeah, so I was always the new kid. I was always picked on. Never was able to make friends for a number of reasons. And then in high school, was it my junior year?
Yes.
It was my junior year. No, because you were there a year. It must have been your junior year, my sophomore year, maybe.
No, junior, senior.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. We were in newsroom together, like news class, news production, because we actually made the paper.
Yeah.
And I remember you just walked over and you're like, hey, can I look at your sketchbook? Because I had brought in my portfolio because I wanted to get a job as the staff cartoonist. And so I remember showing you my drawings, and you liked them. And I thought that was really cool.
But that's the whole thing, right?
Yeah, and you wanted to write me some stories.
But that's literally the whole genesis.
That was it. Yeah, I mean, writing the stories was the part I hated to do. So I remember thinking, like, God, if this kid would write the stories for me,
I could just draw pictures.
all I have to do is draw. This is an incredible relationship.
Yeah.
And the first comic we did,
David and Goliath.
David and Goliath, was
It was like a cyberpunk police story
It was
in the
essentially-
high school paper.
well, no, what it was Appleseed. I'd watched Appleseed, and I was like, hey, I need to copy that. And so David was the cop, and Goliath was this mech partner.
See, that's the problem, is that you had exposure to a bunch of media that I was not familiar with.
Yeah.
Right? So I remember that after we worked on that, and then after they told us we couldn't do our comic anymore.
It didn't resonate with the high school audience.
Then immediately after that, we were like, well, hey, let's start working on our own incredible material.
Yeah.
And then you were like, hey, all these characters need backstories. I'm like, no problem. But I didn't read comics.
Yeah.
So I literally remade Magneto.
He made Magneto's backstory, like start to finish, powers, everything.
Powers, origin.
And
I was like, this is hot shit.
And I did not have the heart to tell you, because
I didn't find out till later. I was like, dude, this is just Magneto.
I was like, yeah, I know. But you were so proud of it.
Yeah, I did have a very religious upbringing. It created a lot of problems for me, because eventually I started to think about some of the things that they were telling me, and then I would ask a question about them, like not even mean, like not even trying to be a dick, and they would get mad. And that was a bad sign to me.
Yeah. Well, when people get defensive when you ask questions, there's something wrong.
And it's like, if you shouldn't be this mad, I'm sure your God can handle whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm like 16.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna topple him.
No, I remember that the Sunday school teacher was trying to say that if you said that someone had said God damn, and then she was like, and I had to take him aside, and I said, that's my God you're talking about, and I don't want to hear you damning him. And then I was like, but I think he's invoking God to damn something else.
Yeah, he believes in the power of God and actually is.
I think you guys agree, actually. But I mean, it might be rude to ask him to damn something, but it's not the same as damning him. And then I had to sit outside
on them.
I had to sit outside the class.
Yeah. I remember I had heard, you just told me stories about your mom, and I remember being really scared, like, to go to your house, because it was this scary place, I thought. And I remember I was picking you up. I had just gotten
I gave you ideas about, like, obsidian pillars.
Yeah.
Not true.
I had just gotten my driver's license.
That's a lot of obsidian,
and
first of all.
I had that tercel, so I came to your house, and I'm picking you up, and you came, and you got in the car, and you shut the door. And before I could leave, I see your mom come running out of the house. I'm like, oh my God, she really is crazy. So she's running and like waving. And I was like, we got to get out of here. But you had caught your seatbelt in the door. And she's like, hey, your seatbelt's hanging out. And I remember, I thought she was going to like yell at us or something like that. I remember being freaked out by her. But she was just being cool.
Yeah.
She's a sweet lady. She likes to
florist.
wear denim jackets that say pennyarcade.mom.
No, listen. She doesn't, listen, it's more than that. She doesn't just have the denim jacket that says pennyarcade.mom. She also has the denim cap that says pennyarcade.mom, in case you didn't see it down here. So if you want to know what, I don't think they've released the top-level mom domain yet.
Not yet.
But she's first in line. Which Overwatch character do you most closely relate to with your counterpart? Or do you most closely relate with your counterpart? If they were going to be a new Overwatch character, what would be their name and backstory? I think that you like Symmetra for a lot of very real reasons.
Oh my God, I love Symmetra.
This is the thing. Like, you like Symmetra's play style. You like the moment-to-moment gameplay. You like the moment-to-moment gameplay, and then you also like the backstory, which, generally speaking, you don't give a shit about.
I never care about backstory. What does it matter?
Right. What happens when I push this button?
No, but the reality is, and I didn't realize how important this was until I saw it. The fact that they put a character who is not neurotypical in a game and made it so that she just doesn't, she's not evil, she's not being mean, but she just doesn't understand people or why they wouldn't want to be perfect.
And this makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I love her, and it's the same thing. We were talking about this in the...
Newt Scamander.
Newt Scamander. Like, to see a person who is a hero, but also is awkward and can't talk to people and doesn't like being around people.
Yeah, generally speaking, that's the motherfucker making bombs or whatever.
Yeah, normally if you saw a character like Newt, you'd be like, that's the villain. Look at this weirdo.
Yeah, he's nervous sometimes.
Yeah, he can't look at you when he talks to you. He's the hero.
Yeah.
It's so great. And yeah, that's why I love Symmetra.
So, but what's my deal? Like, what do I have?
Winston. No, I don't know. Let's see. Who are you? Who would you be? I don't know. Maybe Soldier.
Yeah.
I can see you being Soldier.
You're old.
Old man, the crotchety old man.
Yeah, no, they don't really have the author yet.
They don't have the
Then if they're going to make a new Overwatch character, this is your task. So this is just make up a character.
I can't name him or anything like that.
I can handle that part.
Yeah, somebody who is like the Lex Luthor type character, who is not especially strong, but has like, I don't know how he would play, but he would outsmart the other characters in some way. Yeah,
so something along the lines of a Sombra.
Yeah.
Where they're modifying the world and then affecting abilities, things like that.
Yeah. I think that would be cool for you.
Yep. Codex would be a good name. Here, so we're going to do one more. What?
No, it's fast.
That's what I do.
That's what you do.
That's my job.
Yeah.
This is going to be our last question.
This says we have 16 minutes.
It says we have 16 minutes, but that is a lie from the pit of hell.
Okay.
I had a religious upbringing. I don't know if that came up. Penny Arcade, the series, Season 5, seriously, the fuck. An angry mob. Mostly we're in the crowd now. Yeah. Something like that could happen. But the reality, right, is that when we did the next season of Penny Arcade, the series, at one point, the next season of Penny Arcade, the series, was Strip Search, right?
Yeah.
I think that at that point, that slot just got taken up with whatever the new video project was. So it could be a Strip Search thing if we're able to pull that together. But also, I spend a lot of time on video.
You are all over Twitch.
I spend a lot of time on camera now. If you want to come hang out and you want to ask questions, twitch.tv/Penny Arcade. I'm there pretty much all the time.
Every day of the week, except the weekend.
Yep,
there's some Twitch stream coming out of that office.
No, and if you subscribe, I will eat a disgusting crab live on the show. It has been our great pleasure to open up PAX South. I hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you very much. Have fun.
Thank you very much.